It seems on these back-to-backs against the same team that the Raptors kind of struggle to win both games. Now, no matter who you are, those are tough to win when you play the same team twice in a row, albeit that's what you have to do in a playoff series, blah, blah, blah. We've seen them face Miami, we've seen them face Philly, and you've now seen them face Chicago on these back-to-backs. Well, the Raptors have split each and every one of them. They've now split against the Bulls, they split against Miami, and they split against Philly. The story of tonight's game, though, we hear before the ball game, Zach LaVine's back in the lineup for the Chicago Bulls, and we're like, that's their big weapon. We don't have Pascal. This is going to be tough. And he ends up dropping 30 in the game and was really efficient shooting the ball. But the Raptors, they get away from what they do best. They didn't rebound the ball in the offensive glass. They turned them over a lot, but they didn't score a lot off of those turnovers. We'll talk about that later on. And they lose this game 111-97 to the Chicago Bulls. Kind of painful. But let's break down the game. All right, real quick. Because I want to talk about the specific player stats. And I want to get into that stuff today. First quarter, you're -3, 30-27. Again, very even quarter. Second quarter, fairly same thing. 28-26. You're only down 5 at the half. Right, so you're right there. You're right in striking distance if you're the Toronto Raptors. But in the third quarter, the offensive droughts occur, and the Raptors' shooting woes creep their ugly head, and they only drop 17 in the quarter. They allow 28. You're -11 in the quarter, and you're going into the fourth down 16. Not a pretty sight. You need a miracle now. Well, you don't get it. They give you a little bit of a push, as they usually do, but not enough. And you win that quarter 27-25, but you lose the game by 14, 111-97. Now, I want to go into the player stats first, because there's a few things I want to touch on. Number one is Scotty Barnes. There are things that are so great about Scotty. Like the only highlight of the game, really, that I'm going to put here, just to give us some sort of positivity. And Scotty Barnes backing his man down, and then just drives, right? Gets around the defender, drives, meets Vukovic at the rim, and throws it down over top of him, and you're like, wow, that is absolutely nasty for Scotty Barnes. And you're thinking, oh, with that sort of explosiveness, he probably had a really good night. 5 points, 6 boards, 5 assists, shot 2 of 9, was 1 of 2 from the free throw line, and missed both threes. He struggled. And I don't want to say it's because of the ankle and all that stuff, but Raptor fans, with his ankle not being 100%, and it's pretty obvious it's not, I'll say it again. I don't want him out there if he's not feeling right. As we learned last year with Fred, take care of your body. Listen to your body. Don't try and push through, especially not in November. But he struggled today other than that absolutely monstrous dunk. Fred VanVleet for back-to-back games was absolutely phenomenal yet again. And yet I feel they were going to trap Fred a little bit more. Honestly, not much defensive schemes changed for the Chicago Bulls. Raptors did drop, only 97, what am I talking about? But Fred VanVleet, he dropped 27, 3, and 4. Shot 10 of 19 from the field, made the 1 free throw, was 6 of 10 from 3, had 2 steals, 2 blocks. Fred had a phenomenal night on the offensive end. Shot the ball well from the field, from 3, played good defense, gave you a couple steals and a couple blocks. You love what you saw from Fred VanVleet on both sides of the ball. He was especially locked in early. As the Raptors were, they were only down 5 at the half, so they were pretty locked in. OG lost the offensive punch. He had 22 there yesterday. Only had 13, 4, and 1 today. Shot 4 of 12 from the field. 5 of 7 from the free throw line and missed both threes that he took. Did have 3 steals. You just know what defense you're going to get from OG. You love it when you see it. 3 steals yet again for OG Anunoby. I think he's leading the league in steals per game, and got to keep it at that pace because that is his game. And that's the thing, right? We all want OG to score. We all want OG to be a great scorer. He wants to be a great scorer because let's be honest here. That's where you get paid the most if you're a good scorer. But we all know OG when he's driving into the paint, he's kind of painful to watch. Where he makes his money is on the defensive side of the ball. And you know what you're going to get from him every given night, at least so far this season. Gary Trent Jr., he struggled mightily yesterday. Only played 20 minutes, didn't make shots, couldn't get stops on defense. It was pretty ugly for GT. He got a little bit more runway today, and he shot the ball well. 19 points, 3 boards, 4 dimes. Shot 7 of 12 from the field, 3 of 3 from the line, 2 of 4 from distance. He had 3 steals and a block as well. But I'll leave it at this. Your bench unit just didn't give you enough again. And it's starting to be a talking point. The talk last year was all these starters got to play all these minutes because your bench just isn't giving you much. You know, Precious Achiuwa gave you 10 points, 4 boards, 1 assist on 4 of 6 shooting, 2 of 2 from the line, and you're like, oh, not a bad night for Precious. The dude played 13 minutes. He was a minus 16 while he was on the floor. That ain't good. There's a reason he only played 13 minutes. Chris Boucher. I love what Boucher's done for the Raptors so far this year. He didn't get a single point today. Didn't drop anything. And it's like things like that off your bench, especially since Precious, and you could throw Otto into the mix, I guess. But I would love to see Otto get more aggressive with his shot. He's got a heck of a shot. I'd love to see him use it more. But you could say Otto, Precious, and Chris Boucher. Those are your 3 main options off the bench. You know, Precious gave you 10. I believe Otto gave you like 5. Could have been a little bit more than that. And Boucher didn't give you anything. So they royally struggled today offensively and defensively. A big reason of why this Raptor team really struggled. And you can see Nick Nurse late in this game is just trying to fire any sort of combination together. Basically throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. You're seeing Wancho out there with Malachi Flynn, and it's like, man, he is really jumbling this up because nothing else was working. And the talk last year was the bench was so bad. Then the second half of the season started, and you obviously the evolution of Precious Achiuwa, and the emergence of new version Chris Boucher occurred. And you're like, okay, well, now you at least have a couple guys that you can trust coming off the bench at any given moment. Well, this year, obviously, Chris Boucher was hurt for the first bit of the season, but Precious Achiuwa just really has not been anything special so far this year. I mean, it's still very early, but not liking what we're seeing from Precious so far in the season. All right, let's get to the team stats because they're just as ugly. Raptors shot 42% from the field, 32% from 3, and 73% from the line. They missed 6 free throws. I think they were like 16 for 22. When you're missing 6 free throws, it's gonna hurt you. You know, Chicago shot 52% from the field, 32% from 3 as well, but they shot 10% more on threes. And obviously the Raptors didn't get the many extra opportunities. We'll talk about that very, very shortly. And they were 82% from the free throw line. They just did a better job. They had Zach LaVine, right? Because the talk yesterday was, oh, you trapped DeRozan, you did a great job. And they had to kick it to guys like Alex Caruso and whatnot, and Caruso didn't make any shots yesterday. But the difference today is you had Zach LaVine out there. So yeah, you're pressuring DeMar and you're getting the ball out of his hands, but it's going to Zach LaVine, who shot very efficient. Like I said off the top, he dropped 30. Now the more team stats that are pretty bad. Raptors are minus 18 on the glass. 18! You lost the offensive boards category. Remember we talked about yesterday, the Raptors had 23 offensive rebounds. We're like, man, this team is incredible. They had 5 today. 5. They lost 9-5 in the offensive boards category. That's incredible. How much it flipped. Now, they looked exhausted. I'll tell you that much. They looked pretty damn tired out there. Turnovers wise, you turn them over 21 times. Raptors turn the ball over 14 times, so a little bit more than usual, but you turn them over 21 times. You're plus 7 in the turnovers category. As long as you capitalize, you should be okay. Well, didn't happen. You only won the points off of turnovers by 2. 23-21. And they had 7 more turnovers. You just didn't capitalize enough on their turnovers. You got the turnovers, it's great. But you didn't make them pay for their mistakes. At least not as much as you probably should have. And the way this team works in the fast break, one of the best fast break teams in the league, when you get those turnovers, when you get those extra opportunities like that, you better run it down their throat and get points at it somehow. Well, they didn't do that today. And you were minus 4 on the offensive boards, 9-5. You also lost the second chance points, 11-4. Those are two categories Raptors flat out dominated yesterday, and the script was flipped today. Was flipped. What the heck is that? The script was flipped today. But these games do happen, and with no Pascal, you know offense is going to look ugly at times. Love Fred, but with your number one option not there, it's going to be tough. And we got to get through it, though. Good news is you're kind of at a softer part of your schedule, so you might be able to get away with some of these games with not having Pascal. And one of those games is on Wednesday. That's the next game for the Toronto Raptors as they host the Houston Rockets at Scotiabank Arena. It's a 7:30 tip-off there. You should win that game. Pascal or not, you should win that basketball game. And I'd love to see Scotty Barnes go off. We need one of those games. Or if not, and he's not feeling good, keep him on the bench. Love him. Don't want him hurt. There's a fine line there. All right? So you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. I apologize for the late upload, but smack that like button to appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button. You guys not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the game. What'd you like? What'd you not like from today's game? The defensive intensity wasn't really there. They looked exhausted. They weren't rebounding the ball. It was just an ugly, ugly game. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments below. The Twitter link is down below. Follow, send me a DM to that great stuff. The Discord link is down in the description as well, so follow up there. Guys, go join the discussion. Got all kinds of people in there right now just talking Raptors, talking Leafs, talking Jays, all these different things. Lots of fun. Check it out in the description. The Instagram link is also down below, so follow up there if you guys have not done so already. And I will talk to you guys Leafs edition tomorrow night as they host the Vegas Golden Knights, looking for win number 4 in a row against another top team. This one is the best team in the NHL. Actually, they now, I think, are tied with the Boston Bruins. And Las Vegas played tonight. I can't remember. But either way, right? They're in that same realm as the Boston Bruins. Going to be a tough one, though, tomorrow night for the Leafs. Let's see how they do. And as for the Toronto Raptors, they're back in action. And they're on Wednesday as they host the Houston Rockets at Scotiabank Arena. 7:30 tip-off there. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. I hope you enjoyed the video and not the game tonight. We'll talk to you guys then.